Hey, Aubrey, how's your day so far?
I'm excellent. I made a tuna melt for lunch, which is
I had
like,
tuna for lunch.
stop it, which is hilarious
Crazy.
because I don't think I have eaten tuna in maybe 10 years.
Wait,
I
what?
just haven't, I don't know.
Why?
I like never eat it. If anything, I do like canned chicken, like chicken salad. I just
Sure.
never have tuna. I don't know. And then today, actually, I saw someone yesterday eating a tuna melt at a cafe and I've been craving it ever since.
Tuna
But that's
melts are
random.
so yummy.
We
That's
both had
so
tuna.
weird. We both had tuna sandwiches for lunch.
If we were in the same
Mm.
office, we'd probably be like, oh, we both have tuna breath.
Gross. Good thing, guys. You are apart from us. You are just listening to us or watching us on YouTube, so you don't have to smell our
Right, one
breath.
benefit to not being in an actual office with people. Need some gum, need a mint maybe.
All right, guys. So we had an excellent question from a three keys student that we're going to talk about today. A really great question about when is the best time to think of ideas, because she's worried that the way that she's coming up with ideas is going to be good or bad for her score. And I know that a lot of you will have the same question. So listen up for that. But before we do that, we want to talk about a recent poll, a recent Spotify poll that we did.
Yes, we promised we would announce these results. This was a fun poll. We asked you guys, what's your favorite way to listen to English to improve your listening comprehension? And the results are 72% of you said podcasts. Watching YouTube videos was 9.3%, and then watching TV or movies, 18.6%. So
That's interesting.
overwhelming majority listens to podcasts to improve listening comprehension. I'm right there with you guys. Like when I'm
Totally.
wanting to listen to Spanish, French, often podcast is just an easier medium because I can do a lot of other things while I listen.
And definitely go back and listen to that episode where we talk about listening skills on 1311, because that is an awesome episode. And the last episode we did, 1316, about matching headings to paragraphs, right?
Yes.
That's an awesome reading skills episode. So guys, hit follow right now, because we don't just talk about one part of the IELTS exam. Right? We talk about reading strategies and listening skills and just so much here on IELTS Energy. So hit follow right now if you're not following already.
Yes, we have 2 new episodes every week. So scroll up and get those if you missed them. Definitely follow so you never miss an episode. Everyone has gold, you guys. Great strategies, great vocabulary. You don't ever want to miss an episode.
Totally. And if you are listening to us on Spotify, we do have a really cool poll for this episode too. So please answer that one. It just takes a second. All right. So let's get into this. Aubrey, can you read Samira's question, please?
Yes, she said, I am constantly facing a problem of new ideas popping in during writing.
Hmm.
Although I brainstorm my ideas and write it down near the question, I almost always change my reasons and examples
Mm-mm.
for it on my essay. This happens because I feel that new ideas are better and correctly respond to the task. So, my
Mhm.
question is if it is okay to have such an issue on writing. Jessica, I love
Ugh.
that you couldn't help yourself with your like, because it's true. We've had so many students that once we really dive into like, what is keeping you from getting the scores you
Right.
need? This is
Yeah.
a common error. So, I'm glad we're covering this
100%.
today.
Yeah, 100%. Guys, every time, because Aubrey and I, we do still have private classes, right, with some of our IELTS students in Three Keys IELTS. And when we were talking about writing, if there's an issue with organization, if there's an issue with focus, task, if these scores are not great, and like Aubrey said, and we dig into this with the student to figure out why, you guys, this is so often the answer, because they're like thinking of new ideas while they write, changing their mind. Just, it's a disorganized way to approach writing in general. And it's definitely detrimental to your score in a lot of ways to do this on IELTS.
And you just don't have time for something
Yeah,
like this, right?
no.
Often students will tell us like, "I just cannot get the task 1 and task 2 written in the 1 hour." So we'll
Right.
really work through like how, the timing and how long
Yeah.
you're taking for this and this and this. And this is a common issue that if we realize,
Yeah,
okay, there's an
totally.
issue with the brainstorm, and then maybe we're changing our ideas as we go, that's taking you so much time that you don't have.
That's such a good point, exactly. Um, and, it is so much of strategies on writing and reading come down to time, managing your time effectively,
Absolutely.
right?
Mhm.
And if you are brainstorming, you're using that time really well to just focus on ideas, and then you start writing and you're not using the ideas from your brainstorm, then you just wasted 3 to 5 minutes while you brainstormed. Like, that is time that you'll never get back,
Absolutely.
that
Right.
you're not even using. And then, like Aubrey said, if you're also trying to come up with ideas while you write, that takes so much more time while you're writing.
Exactly. So we have solutions here, guys. We want to share why, of course, why this is not the way and a better strategy, right? What you
Totally.
should do instead. This is vital that you really have to believe this before you go in on test day because
Yeah.
we have students who, like, we have taught this and it's like they know I should brainstorm and stick to those ideas, but it's still so tempting when in the middle of your essay you think, oh, of this better reason that would be so
I
easy
know.
to justify, and I have a good example, but I would just have to go back and change this. You're going to have the strength of will to resist, and you need to know
Yeah.
why. You have to have the reasoning behind, like, why? Why should I resist? You need to understand the scoring system and what the examiner is listening for. So, we're going to give you all the information today so that on test day, you guys can be strong and do
But,
the right
like,
thing.
I feel your pain, guys. Like,
Yes,
Aubrey does too. We're the same. I mean, there's so many ideas that you're coming up with and great examples, and you're like, "Oh, but this is such a good example, but it doesn't fit this reason, so I'll change the reason." And like,
right.
um, I
Exactly.
understand that. Like, we all have so many great ideas. You guys do too, for sure. But that's not what your score is based on. Here's probably the number one reason besides wasting all that time. Here's another top reason to not do that is that the ideas themselves are not actually part of your score. Like, it's not like there's a scoring category where it's like, I, as an examiner, am very impressed by the complex nature of this student's connection and seeing social patterns or whatever. Like, it's not that's not part of your score. Your ideas, they just have to be clear and direct and connected to the topic. And those are usually very obvious reasons.
Yes.
They're the first ones you think of. And that's what we tell you to do in Three Keys IELTS. When you brainstorm, write down the first ideas you think of. These are the obvious ones, these are the direct ones. And obviously, like the examples that you brainstorm for those reasons, you have more creative freedom around that. They still have to be very direct and very obvious, though.
Yes, and this is where I think students, the more you have experience in like academia, at college, because there are different types of writing than IELTS writing. And if
Sure.
you slip back into that like thought of, oh, the professor's looking for something specific, or
Yeah.
other exams, the AP English exam I took, there, I remember reading a poem and there was like a hidden meaning there that
Mhm.
I wrote the whole essay. And then I realized this hidden meaning and then I had to redo it because I knew
Ha!
that's what these test writers were looking for. IELTS
Right.
is not like that. Just like you said, Jessica, the examiner is not thinking of like the one best right idea. And if you don't come up with that one, you can't get the score. That's just not how IELTS works.
Nope.
The first idea, like you said, Jessica, the first idea you think of when you brainstorm, as long as you know you have supporting details and examples for it, that is the idea to get the score. There's
Mhm.
doesn't matter if later you think of maybe one that was better and you're imagining the examiner thing is better. Nope, stick with what you've got.
Right. All right, guys. So when you change your ideas while you write, you're not only wasting time, but there's also a good chance that you're just making it way too complicated. Like you
Right.
are overcomplicating your communication. Maybe using like indirect sort of like esoteric connected ideas, making it just too complex, which guys, those things, it's not a smart, that's not smart communication. It actually lowers your score. It definitely lowers your task score like immediately, and possibly your cohesion coherent score as well, because if your ideas don't make sense, if the examiner can't understand what you're trying to say the very first time he or she reads your ideas, if I can't understand what you're saying, then there's a good chance that's affecting your cohesion coherent score.
Yes, absolutely. And you may be tempted, like if you're switching your ideas, but you still really love both of them, you might be tempted to include both and not support either of them enough because you won't have
It's a
time.
good
You
point.
won't have time to
Yeah.
really get enough details in. So that's another risk, right? So instead, you really need to you need to have bought into this idea of choosing that one idea in the first place and sticking with it.
That is such a good point, though. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's another big danger when students are coming up with ideas while they write, is they're too tempted to just tack on more ideas at the end of their paragraph with
And this,
no
and this, and this.
supporting example. Exactly.
Right.
No supporting examples, no supporting details, just idea, idea, and then they go to the next paragraph. And that definitely lowers your score, guys.
All right. So then we have also when you are brainstorming and then when you're writing, right? You need your entire brain. You need all of your brain power, organizing ideas, using transition phrases, remembering essay structure, remembering templates that you've learned with high scoring vocabulary, thinking about your grammar, your vocabulary. So think about if you're taking a big chunk of your brain to keep thinking of new ideas, what are you
Mhm.
missing? What are you neglecting to think about? So that's another thing is while you're writing, there are specific things you need to be thinking about and looking for. And that is not thinking of new ideas to support your opinion.
Exactly. Our brains are limited. Our functional capacity neurologically is limited,
Unfortunately.
unfortunately. And that's really the whole point of the three keys to writing in the three keys course, right? We break that process down into three steps in order to use our brains the most effectively. Um, at the right time, right? So the brainstorming step, we're only thinking of ideas. Like that's this whole other part of our brain where you are conceptualizing and being creative and making connections, right? The big ideas part, use that part of your brain while you're brainstorming. Come up with those ideas. And then while you write, that's this whole other part of your brain. You're focused on grammar, you're focused on vocab, you're focused on using the essay structure, right? We can't do all of it at the same time. So you have to split it up like we teach you in Three Keys IELTS. Guys, if you are curious about the three simple keys to every part of the exam, check it out. It's lifetime access now, guys, and everyone gets feedback on their final exam. So check it out. Go to allearsenglish.com/KEYS. So the takeaway today, guys, think of your ideas while you brainstorm. Leave it at that. While you write, do not use the ideas that are inevitably popping up in your brain. You have to practice this process, though, and trust it.
Yes, this is one of many strategies that you really have to have nailed down before test day. You've got to know it really well, understand why, practice it so that you stick to it on test day. So definitely get into three keys IELTS, guys, if you can feel the need for strategies for this exam. I know that's a horrible feeling to feel kind of like you're just guessing and trying and doing the best you can. And what you really need are strategies for every part of the exam. So check it out at allearsenglish.com/keys.
Okay. Awesome. Well done. Great episode. Good question. Thank you, Samira. And awesome. I'll see you tomorrow.
Awesome. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.